I'm good, Miss Holly. Thank you.
Has the calendar been sent out yet?
It has.
Hear them?
Be quiet. Can you get that water bottle right there for me, please?
Who is asking for a copy of the calendar?
It was Miss Glover, Miss Holly, but I just sent it to her.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Miss Holly, how are you?
Good afternoon, Judge.
And what's our reset date this afternoon?
It's going to be October the 12th.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Judge Lal, and this is going to be the Fulton County State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar. This is an initial appearance calendar for individuals who were recently arrested and charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses. Upon being booked at the Fulton County Jail, their cases have been recently and formally accused by the prosecutor, who would be the Solicitor General of Fulton County, Keith Gamage, and his office. So this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I call the particular defendant, I'll inform the defendant of his or her new accusation number, the charges brought against him or her, what would be the next court date if applicable, and also to set a bond if one has not been previously set, or to reconsider the bond that was previously set by the judge issuing the arrest warrant. If you are a defendant who is charged and arrested with a misdemeanor offense or more, please remember the following rights. The first one is your right to remain silent. Anything that you choose to say or discuss about your case during the course of this virtual proceeding, which is not only recorded but live streamed, your statements can and will be used against you in the prosecution of your case. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you, either from the Public Defender's Office or from the Conflict Defense List. If you choose to have a private attorney represent you, please let me know if you have retained one. And if not, please let us know of your wishes to either proceed self-represented or whether you want the services of the public defense attorney. Let me see. Now, for some of you, I will be resetting the case to another court date. Now, I mentioned some of you, not all of you, some of you. And the next court date will be October 12th, 2023 at 9 a.m. Please be mindful that most of the proceedings on October 12th will be virtual. Even though it may give a designation of courtroom G33, the proceedings will actually be virtual. So if you bond out, please be mindful that the next court date will be virtual and you will need to obtain a Zoom link from the clerk's office. If there are family or friends who want to attend the next court date on October 12th, then you will need to get the Zoom link from the clerk's office. For witnesses, alleged victims, or any observers who are appearing at the Zoom session, a couple of warnings. I will remove you from the Zoom proceeding if you are driving, if you are eating, smoking, or if you are inappropriately dressed. You should also be mindful that this is a Zoom proceeding. So if you are walking around or moving around, this will be very disruptive to the recording process, and we will remove you from the Zoom. So until your particular relative or friend's case is called, or the particular defendant with whom you are involved in that case, until that case is called, I would recommend that you either switch off your video and you can start your video again when the particular relevant case is called. Okay? Because otherwise I will remove you from the Zoom if you are distracting to the proceedings. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Before you is position 14, Mr. Shinhoster.
All right. Deputy Milton, is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, new location for you today. Okay. All right, position number 14. We have Byron Shinhoster, case number 23 CR 005853J. Mr. Shinhoster, you've been accused of theft by shoplifting from September 28, 2023. Your case number is 235853J. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney this afternoon will be Miss J. Kim. Okay, my pretrial officer is Mr. Howard. Mr. Howard, good afternoon. And do we have any priors on Mr. Shinhoster?
18 total. Last arrest was in May for shoplifting and trespass. He's on probation for theft by taking. In 2020, they gave him 10 years. He got a lot of shoplifting convictions in his history, out of state too. That's it.
Thank you. Before, I just want to digress for 1 minute. Who is representing Mr. Batista? Position number 3. Ms. Kim, is that you?
That would
Okay.
be me.
All right, Ms. Saint Flex. All right, do we have a Spanish interpreter on Zoom? All right, Ms. Saint Flex, I'll probably have to wait till the interpreter comes on, and then you can discuss the case with him in a breakout.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I apologize. I apologize. Was a Spanish interpreter requested for today, Miss Saint Flex?
I just saw it in the chat, so I'm assuming the request was sent in, perhaps not in a timely manner.
Okay, I didn't see it, and I don't know if Mr. Jordan is aware of that because he's not working today, so that's why I'm asking. But I'll confirm, Judge. Just stand by. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Mr. Walker, with regards to Mr. Shinhoster?
Yes, the state is asking for a $3,000 signature bond through the jail, along with the conditions of a stay away from the Macy's located at the Lenox Mall, 3393 Peachtree Road.
Any objection, Ms. Kim?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Shinhoster, your bond is going to be a signature bond through the jail. It's $3,000, and you are to stay away from all Macy's stores, not just the one at Lenox Mall, but all Macy's department stores, and you are to stay away from the entire Lenox Mall facility. Your next court date will be sent to you at your current mailing address. Within 30 days of being released, you shall update the court with your current mailing address. If you fail to appear at your next court date, when summoned, we will issue a bench warrant for your arrest and your signature bond will be revoked. Do you understand, sir? And also, if you get arrested again for anything else, I don't care whether it's jaywalking or another theft case, your signature bond will be revoked and you can remain at the jail until trial. Understood? All right, good. Thank you. We'll see you then. Next case, please, Deputy Milton.
Next, we have position 13, Miss Jennifer Ruff.
Ms. Ruff's case is 23 CR 5852G, accused of simple assault from September 26, 2023. Ms. Ruff, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard, any priors, please?
It's a 4th arrest. Last was 2021. Trespass, simple assault, simple battery, obstruction, felony obstruction. She's on probation for felony obstruction out of Cherokee County.
All right, Mr. Walker?
Yes, in this case, the defendant was arrested for attacking Mr. Larry White at 1479 East Raintree Drive. She attempted to kick the victim. She was detained on the scene. The state is asking for a $1,000 surety bond. No further contact with the victim, Mr. Larry White, and to stay away from the incident location, 1479 East Raintree Drive.
East Raintree Drive?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 45 years old. She was born and raised here in Georgia.
She recently lost her husband, so Your Honor, she does have to go and take care of her two minor children who are 12 and 16. And we would like to request for a signature on bond. That's about it, Your Honor. She has no objection to stay away from Larry White or his place and no further contact, Your Honor.
Bond is going to be set at $3,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. She will report to, I don't know if she's paying attention.
This per judge.
Yes, sir. Miss Jennifer Ruff, I'm going to grant you a signature bond, but you need to comply with the conditions in order to maintain the signature bond status. It's a $3,500 signature bond through pretrial services. Once released, you will report to pretrial once a month. You will stay and have no contact with Larry White. You have to stay 200 yards away from him and not communicate with him in any way, form, or manner. You are not to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not to possess or own any firearms. You will be randomly screened for alcohol when you report to pretrial services. And if you get arrested again, or if you violate any of the conditions of this bond, your signature bond will be revoked. Please make sure that you maintain a current mailing address with the courts at all times. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a seat there, please. Have position 9, Ms. Donna Hogue.
This is State versus Donna Tabitha Hoges, case number 23 CR 5848E, charged with battery from September 29th, 2023. Ms. Hoges, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. McLeod. And any priors, Mr. Howard?
You got 57 total. Last arrest was 2021 probation. On probation for shoplifting, 19 SC1. They left a number off, but it's felony probation. 2013 battery DV conviction, 2021 probation, 2021 shoplifting, 2019 failure to appear, 2015 burglary conviction and shoplifting conviction.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, the brief facts is that on September 29, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location, that location being the 1296 Murphy Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30310. Upon arrival, witness directed the officer to the defendant's room. The witness, Dolores Watson, stated that the defendant and the victim were in an altercation, and that the defendant walked up to the victim, and the victim stated that she did not want to be bothered. As a result of this, the defendant slapped her, striking the victim in the face. The witness stated that the victim then stood up in an attempt to defend herself, and that the defendant grabbed the victim by the arm and threw her to the ground. Witness tried to separate the two. The defendant then threw the victim onto the ground again. A separate witness corroborated the story. Victim sustained cuts to her left hand, cuts to her right shoulder, and a swollen cheek. The recommendation from the state is a $5,000 surety bond, no contact with the witnesses or the victim, stay away from the incident location, and 1 anger management course. And if at this time we can sound for the victim, Miss Bernstein Clemens, our office was not able to get in contact with her.
Ms. Clemens? All right, Ms. McLeod?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
My client is a lifelong native of Atlanta. She is 54 years old. She tells me that she has 2 of her grandchildren who live with her and that she takes care of, Your Honor. She is employed. She works in a warehouse. She doesn't have much money for bond. I would ask the court to consider giving my client, despite her history, a signature bond, because I did not hear any violent history at all. I only heard theft-related history. She also denies that she was the aggressor here, Your Honor. She tells me that she was attacked by the alleged victim and she was merely defending herself. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Right. She's got a South Fulton hold as well for failure to appear. I don't know what that matter looks like it's another simple assault charge. No, hang on, it might be this one.
And I'd just like to point out, Your Honor, that pretrial seemed to have read a battery family violence conviction already. And so this would ultimately qualify or eventually be transferred as a felony. And so with that in mind.
Is this a DV matter? It wasn't charged as a DV
Oh.
matter.
It isn't, Your Honor.
So I'm not sure if it qualifies for transfer, but then that's up to the prosecution. The bond in the present case is set at $1,500. It's going to be a surety bond. Her next court date is October 12th. She's to have no further contact with Ms. Bernstein Clements and to stay away from the incident location at 1296 Murphy Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. No alcohol, drugs, and weapons, and she must maintain a current address with the courts at all times. Thank you.
Your Honor,
Yes,
with
ma'am?
respect to the stay away, this apparently is an apartment complex where my client lives with her 2 young grandchildren.
She would need to find alternative housing. Thank you. Next case, please.
Next, we have position 6, Maria Dickerson.
All right. Who represents Ms. Dickerson?
I represent Ms.
All right.
Dickerson.
Ms. St. Flex, no language issues?
No.
Okay. This is State versus Maria Dickerson, case number 23 CR 5845E, accused of criminal trespass and willful obstruction of an officer on September 29, 2023. Ms. Dickerson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Clarissa St. Flex. Mr. Howard?
This is her 3rd arrest, 2019 ag assault. She's on probation for that out of the cab. And a 2018 trespass is dismissed.
All right, thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Kind of the brief facts is that she entered into the Morton Steakhouse 2 times after having previously received a criminal trespass warning. The incident location is 303 Peachtree Center Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, the state is simply requesting, one moment.
Is that the Georgia State campus?
I believe that is likely downtown, if I'm not mistaken. Morton's is downtown.
It is the
Like
Georgia
across-
State.
It's Georgia State.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is, one moment. It would be a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from the incident location.
Any objection, Ms. St. Flex?
We would just ask that the signature bond is through the jail, Your Honor, based on her resources, and she's gonna have a hardship in reporting to pretrial once a month since she's on foot. She's not driving, so she would have a very hard time actually trying to get to pretrial once a month. So we would just ask that the signature bond is through the jail instead of pretrial.
You would need to use public transportation. This is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, $1,500 on each count. She'll report to pretrial once a month. She is to stay away from the entire Georgia State University campus. If she didn't know it before, from this point onwards, she is on notice that she is criminally trespassed. And she has to stay away from all property belonging to Georgia State University. No alcohol, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And her next court date will be sent to her current mailing address. She will need to update the court with the best address at which she can be reached.
She's on probation, so this per judge.
All right. Oh, perfect. She's on, is it Fulton County? I know you said it was DeKalb, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, the cab.
So Ms. St. She has to report to DeKalb probation as well. So I'm assuming she does have some form of transportation.
We've recorded the ruling of the court.
Understood. Next case, please. Who do we have, please? Deputy Milton?
Position 7, Estrella Andrade. Deja.
Oh,
Deja is the first
all
name.
right. Miss Estrella Andrade, do you speak English and do you understand the English language?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, this was the one, Miss Saint Flex, that you requested, and no, this is not the one. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you. Miss Deja Cristina Estrella Andrade is accused of battery, family violence from September 28th, 2023. Her newly accused case is 23 CR 5846Y. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your counsel is going to be Miss Saint Flex. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
11 total. Last arrest was in June out of Massachusetts, assault and battery. That appears to be open. Got a 2016 assault and battery, assault on police conviction, 2016 resisting arrest. All that was out of Massachusetts.
All right. Mr. Pierre Thomas, what's the state's recommendation?
Yeah, and just to clarify, according to the state's records, the arrest out of Massachusetts were we have assault and battery on a family/household member in 2016 and in 2018. And so this is another situation where the state believes later that we transfer for felony. But the brief facts is on September 28, 2023, the officer was dispatched to the incident location in reference to dispute with injuries. Officer made contact with the defendant in this case, who advised that she was in a dispute with her girlfriend, the victim being Tatiana,
Riley? Yeah, got it.
Riley. Okay, the defendant advised that she confronted the victim because she felt like the victim was cheating on her. The defendant was extremely intoxicated and did admit to assaulting the victim. Victim stated that the defendant chased her down, hit her repeatedly with her fist in the middle of the street, causing a large swelling to her, large knot to her forehead. They both reside at the same apartment. The recommendation from the state is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim in this case, a stay away from the incident location, and a family violence intervention program.
All right, thank you. Ms. Saint Flex?
Yes, Your Honor. She is a sous chef working at 5 Church at Colony Square Restaurant. I asked her about her ties to Massachusetts. She's been living here since December, and she goes to school here during the day, during the week, Monday through Friday. And then in the evenings and on the weekends, she works at her job. So she has significant ties to the community. She does has family who also is supporting her. We would ask, based on her income that I spoke to her about, she would not likely be able to afford a $3,000 surety bond. We would ask for a signature bond. If the court is not inclined to give a signature bond, no more than $1,000 surety bond. Additionally, the Family Violence Intervention Program is a program that is $150 for initial registration. Since she can't go back to her residence, she is going to be moving into In-Town Suites. That is a hotel where she has to pay a weekly amount. And so based on her income, she would not be able to afford the Family Violence Intervention Program. Additionally, we would just say that we would believe that that would be pre-sentencing before she's adjudicated in any way in this case. Additionally, the classes are between $35 to $50 a class. You have to transport to the class or take the class virtually, so she would have to have internet. So we would just object to any order of the Family Violence Intervention Program without means of payment for that program and because of her school and work schedule.
All right, thank you, Ms. Saint Flex. The bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's a surety bond. Next court date is October 12th, 2023, unless she bonds out. Once she's released on bond, she is to have no further contact with Tatiana Riley, to stay away from 1050 Lenox Road, the entire complex in Atlanta, Georgia, and to not consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess any weapons or firearms. I was going to ask one other thing. I'm sorry, I'm blanking out of that one. Oh, and upon being released, she is to update the court with her new mailing address once she's released on bond. And If she fails to appear in court at her next summons, then a bench warrant will be issued for arrest. Thank you. Next case, Deputy Milton.
Position 1, Alvin Baldwin.
Mr. Alvin Baldwin is accused of battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree, case number 23 CR 5840H. This is from a September 28, 2023 incident. Mr. Baldwin, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, last was 2022 probation, 2021 simple battery conviction, 2017 possession of a controlled substance conviction. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, the brief facts is officer responded to a call at 1981 Martin Luther King Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, 30314. The victim advised the defendant hit her in the face and pushed her minor child who was trying to break up the fight. She also advised the defendant became mad because he thought that she was cheating on him. So he broke the window to the vehicle, pulled her out of the vehicle, and struck her. The victim and the defendant the victim and her kids were able to get away and go back to the home and barricade themselves inside the home. The defendant and the victim obviously lived together. The victim in this case, our office was able to get in contact with her. She corroborated the statements in the warrant, and she also advised that she would like a no contact, a stay away, and a one-time police escort. She stated that he still has some items of hers. I believe she is on the call. Her name is Jasmine Gibson. And just for the court's edification in terms of a potential stay away, the other victim in the case initials are DF. The state's going to be asking for a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Can I clarify that he never hit me?
Ms. Gibson, I'll give you an opportunity to speak.
Okay.
If you please hold. Thank you.
Sorry.
Please carry with that, Mr. Pierre Thomas. Please continue.
So again, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with both of the victims, a stay away from the incident location in the family violence intervention program.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Gibson, if you'd like to contribute to this hearing, I would need to place you under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand.
I just
Raise your right hand. Other hand, rather right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
I just wanted to clarify, he never struck me or physically hit me. He broke the glass on the car, and that's that's what they have. But he never put his hands on me, ma'am.
How did he remove you from the car?
Fine. The stay away is fine for me, but as far as him putting his hand, him striking me and hitting me, no.
How did he remove you from the car?
I removed myself from the car. I went out the passenger side of the car.
Understood. Thank you. Ms. McLeod, any objection to the signature bond?
No, Your Honor. No, no.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Pierre Thomas, that was a $3,000 signature bond?
Oh, I didn't give it out, Your Honor. I just said through the pretrial services.
On the battery is going to be a 3,000 signature bond. On the cruelty is going to be 1,000 signature bond. This is going to be through pretrial services. Mr. Baldwin, once you are released on the signature bond, you must comply with the conditions in order to maintain your signature bond status. You are to have no further contact with Jasmine Gibson and the minor child referred to as DF. If that is the child that you share with Ms. Gibson, you may have contact with the child by filing a legitimation action and obtaining a court order to establish visitation and joint custody. You are not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons of firearms. That was the 2021 battery charge. Okay. Once you're reporting to pretrial services, you are to attend and complete the one-day anger awareness program that's offered by pretrial services. If you violate any of these conditions, your signature bond could be revoked and you'll be either in a no bond status or it'll be a cash or surety bond. So please be mindful that you would need to comply with these conditions. If you share the same housing as Miss Gibson, as I indicated, you need to stay away from her, so you cannot return to the same house and live there. You are permitted a one-time visit with a police officer to remove your personal belongings, and that visit cannot exceed 1 hour. After that, within 30 days of being released from jail, you must update the court with your new mailing address. Thank you.
That's per judge. How much was this?
3 and 1, that's 4,000 signature bond for pretrial.
Did you do anger awareness?
1 day anger awareness, yes.
Okay.
Next case, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 2, Mr. David Barnes.
Mr. Barnes is accused of terroristic threats and acts, a misdemeanor charge from a September 28, 2023 incident, case number 23 CR 5841C. Mr. Barnes, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Would that be correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And any priors, Mr. Howard?
20 total. Last arrest was 2016, suspended license.
I'm sorry, that was 20 arrest cycles?
Yes. Yes.
All right.
Last arrest was 2016, suspended license. The last violent charge I saw was like 2012, a battery.
All right. Thank you. Is it Mr. Pierre Thomas? Are you
Yes, Your Honor. Brief facts is that on September 28th, 2003, officers responded to 35 Northside Drive, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia, 30313. On a dispute call, officers spoke with security guard Miracle Brown, who advised that the victim called the police about one of the residents at the location. Victim advised that she had been threatened by the defendant. She stated that Barnes stated that he would kill her along with other threats. She advised that she received a video from the security of those threats. There was a witness, Miss Betty Jackson, who advised that she heard the defendant state that he fixed 2 computers for her and she owes him $75 and that she was going to give him that $75. Security guard advised the victim walked away and did not engage. Security guard also stated that she heard that the defendant say that if I go to jail, you think you won't lose your life to the victim. Victim directed to several other witnesses. One of the other witnesses, James Sanders, stated that he heard the defendant say, if I get locked up, I will come back and shoot them. A separate witness, Thomas Power, stated that he heard, if I go to jail, I will come out and shoot all of them MFs. The defendant himself admitted to having made threats the previous day. Your Honor, the victim is listed as Kathy Hunt. I believe she's on the call. Our office did have the opportunity to speak with her. The recommendation from the state is a $5,000 surety bond, no contact, and 1 anger management course. And I do believe that the victim would like a stay away.
All right. Ms. Hunt, my name is Judge Lawal. If you'd like to contribute to this hearing, I would need to place you under oath. Would you like to make a statement?
Yes, Judge.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Hunt, do you live at the same building or complex at 35 Northside Drive?
I am the property manager, Judge.
I see. And are you the individual who provided some kind of services or computer-related matter?
No, ma'am. He goes around all the time with computers, trying to fix computers, asking if anybody has computers for sale. No, ma'am.
Okay. And what would you like to tell me?
It's just a danger to us. I mean, if everybody in our facility feels like he's going to come back and get us, I mean, he said, it's on recording, that he said that he was going to come back and blow up the building. He was going to kill me. He was going to send his grandkids up there. If he went to jail, he's going to kill everybody in the building. I mean, this is ongoing. How do we know that he's not going to play this out?
Okay.
I mean, it's not. Is for all of my residents as well.
All right. Have there been any reports of violence between this defendant and anyone else at the complex?
He's into it all the time with different residents.
No, that's not what I meant. As the property manager, have you got any documented incidents of violence involving this individual?
The prior day before he got arrested, he was up all night long in the lobby, just pacing back and forth, talking about he was going to blow up the building. He was going to kill me. Security called me. Security sent me video. Our head chief of security also sent me video where he said that he was going to blow up the building and kill me and kill everybody in the building.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Hunt. I appreciate your input. You may mute the screen. Thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 71 years old. He absolutely denies any of this. He tells me that he fixes computers for people and that he had fixed 2 computers for the complaining witness and she has refused to pay him. He was merely asking her to pay what she owes him and she became upset. She is a property manager, he tells me, so she has a great deal of authority to do things. He's been living in this facility for almost 3 years, he tells me, and he's not had any kind of issues with anyone, and this has come about just because he asked her to pay him for the work that he did. My client has no significant violent history, Your Honor, and I believe I heard a battery from 2012, and his last arrest was driving related. So I would ask the court to consider giving him a signature bond so he can get out of jail and get back home. He's an old man, he's 71 years old. And I do not believe, even though they have said that he made these kind of threats and they have videos, I have a feeling that none of it was ever presented to the police and these are just made up so that she can have him away from the property because she has the power to keep him away. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Barnes is to stay away and have no contact with Kathy Hunt. He's to stay 200 yards away from her, not communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. He is to stay away from 35 Northside Drive in Atlanta, Georgia. He's allowed a one-time visit with a police officer. He must have a police officer accompany him in order to retrieve his personal belongings. That visit cannot exceed 1 hour. Within 30 days of being released, Mr. Barnes is to update the court with his new mailing address, and all future summons will be sent to that address. He's to attend and complete the one-day anger awareness program by pretrial, and he's not to consume any alcohol, no illegal drugs, and not possess or own any weapons or firearms. Yes, Ms. McLeod?
Yes, I was going to say, Your Honor, he has furniture and so on in this apartment. So okay. 1 hour, he would not be able to actually move out, Your Honor. So I was asking the court to give him some more time, a reasonable amount of time for him to arrange to have his furniture and belongings moved.
Ms. Hunt, as the property manager, what is a reasonable time for an occupant to remove all their furniture and belongings? You need to unmute. Ms. Hunt, you have to unmute. Ms. Kathy Hunt, if you could please unmute, then we can hear you.
It is per judge.
Yes.
Yes, Judge, he has 2 weeks.
No. When a person comes to the unit, how long does it take to physically remove those items? I don't know the size of his units or anything like that. What do you believe is a reasonable time? 2 hours, 3 hours?
Judge, he's in a 1-bedroom apartment. It should take him practically about 2 hours.
Okay, I will grant him a 3-hour time frame in which to remove his belongings, as long as there's a police officer present for this event. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hunt. You're free to go.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, Ms. McLeod. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
You too.
Next, we have position 4.
Okay.
Mr. Bo Buffington.
All right. Miss Adriana is our interpreter present. I
No,
think
ma'am, not yet.
not yet. Okay, thank you. Position 4, we have Bo Buffington accused of criminal trespass and from September 29, 2023. The formal accusation number is 23 CR 5843D. Mr. Buffington, your attorney is Ms. St. Flex, and your next, excuse me, and Mr. Howard, any priors?
45. Last arrest was in May for shoplifting, criminal damage to property. That is open. Well, he does have an open shoplifting and obstruction. 22 SC 182519. On probation for shoplifting and obstruction, possession of drug-related objects. A couple of probation violations from last year. He got an extensive shoplifting convictions.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
The recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no contact with any employees that work at Ponce City Market, and stay away from Ponce City Market. That incident location is 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue, Northeast Atlanta, Georgia.
Ms. St. Flex?
Yes, Your Honor, we would just ask that the signature bond is through the jail. This criminal trespass warning was from a year ago. The allegation says that he was warned 9/18/2022 to not return to this location. Based on his financial circumstances that I've spoke with him about and his transportation issues, we do believe it would be a hardship for him to report to pretrial once a month indefinitely. So we would just ask for the signature bond to be through the jail.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Buffington must report to pretrial once a month, and he's to stay away from the entire location known as Ponce City Market, located at 675 Ponce de Leon Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Thank you.
That'll be per judge due to the 45 arrest.
Understood. Thank you. And I have Miss Chauncey, our interpreter, available for position number, was it 13?
Mr. Batista, position 3.
Position 3. And Deputy Milton, where is Mr. Batista?
Right here, Your Honor.
He would need to be in a separate location where he can speak to Miss St. Flex and the interpreter.
You go take them to courtroom 1, 3, or courtroom 1. Okay. Which one? Okay. We're gonna take them to courtroom 1.
Them? Is there more than one case requiring an interpreter?
We'll have them go to courtroom 1, Your Honor.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. And who do we have in the chair right now?
Position 5, Alpha
Okay.
Dio.
This is State versus Alpha Dio, 23 CR 5844D, accused of simple battery at a public transit vehicle or station from September 29th, 2023. Mr. Diallo, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. St. Flex.
No,
I'm sorry, Miss Kim? Is it Miss
Yes,
Kim?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Your attorney is Miss J. Kim. And Mr. Howard, any priors?
4th arrest. He got an open trespass out of state court. 2022 criminal damage to property. 2017 shoplifting NOLO. And he has an FTA.
Yeah, in a 8561D, Judge Edline's case?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Out of the allegations that he spit on the MARTA personnel at the Peachtree MARTA station located at 216 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia. The state's recommendation is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with that victim. That victim is listed as Lance Brooks. Stay away from the incident location and abide by any active suspensions that MARTA has put in place, and 1 anger management course. And at this time, if we can sound for the victim in this case, Mr. Brooks, that'd be great.
Mr. Brooks, is it Mr. Brooks or Officer Brooks?
I believe he was not an officer with MARTA. I believe he was the transportation worker.
Okay,
driver type.
well, no one's responded, so Ms. Kim?
Yes, we have no objection to all those conditions and bond. Thank you.
And what was the number again? Was it 1,500?
I didn't give a number, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Mr. Pierre Thomas, I keep asking you for the number. All right, the bond's going to be set at $2,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Diallo is, in order for you to maintain your signature bond status, just to let y'all know, even though he's got a signature bond, he won't be released until the bench warrant has been addressed, because he's got a bond on the bench warrant. So if he's still at the jail, his next court date is going to be October 12th, even though he's got a signature bond in this case. And once he is released on the FTA, he would need to report to pretrial once a month and stay away from all MARTA property. Mr. Diallo, that means staying away from all MARTA buses, all MARTA stations, bus station stops. You cannot use the bathrooms, the parking lots, or even the enter the stations or the bus stops belonging to MARTA property. Right? Once you take care of your bench warrant, you will need to report to pretrial. Otherwise, your $2,000 signature bond will be revoked. Thank you.
All right, of course, this is per judge.
Yes, sir.
Outside of number 11, anybody else going through pretrial today is per judge.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Chauncey, as soon as courtroom 1 comes on the Zoom, we will place you in that breakout with defense counsel and the defendant. Okay.
Your Honor,
Thank you.
what we'll do it by phone.
I
We'll,
think
can we call him a same flex now to see if we can have a three-way call?
Ms. Saint Flex, are you
I
open?
did just get the call, so I can speak. I don't know how we're gonna place the interpreter on the three-way call, but I can use the phone. That's fine.
You would need Ms. Chauncey's phone number. If Ms. Chauncey, if you could please place your phone number to Ms. PD Clarissa Saint Flex.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Next case in courtroom 2.
Next, we have position 8, William Hayes.
All right, this is case 23 CR 5847F accused.
Mr. Hayes is my client, so.
All right, just proceed. Let's proceed with this case and then you can make that call. William Hayes is case 23 CR 5847F, accused of battery, family violence, hindering a person from making an emergency phone call, and criminal trespass. This is from an August 16th, 2022. Mr. Hayes, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Saint Flex. Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Hayes?
This is 10th arrest. Last arrest was in June, probation. Got an open case and card for battery, DV, ag assault. 2020 probation, 2017 criminal damage to property. You got first offender for that. 2012 simple assault conviction, 2012 shoplifting conviction.
The 2020, the battery, DV, and ag assault case in Cobb, do you know what year that was?
That's an open case this year, Your Honor.
Is it this year or 2022?
The GCIC indicated 2023, I believe.
Okay.
And then also he has a aggravated battery, which was reduced to battery family violence conviction out of Newton. And so this case will eventually be transferred as a felony. Your Honor, the facts of this case are essentially that on August 6, 2022, officers were dispatched to 6175 Old National Highway in reference to a fight call. That's a separate incident, separate location from the incident location. The victim advised that she was involved in a physical altercation with her live-in boyfriend, the defendant, at their residence. That residence is 2455 Crell, Crell Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30349 for stay away purposes. The victim advised that her and the defendant engaged in a verbal dispute because she did not want to have sex with him. The victim stated that the defendant began to argue with her because he wanted her to delete a Facebook post that he thought was about him. After seeing mace in her pocket, the defendant pushed the victim and punched her in the face with his hands. The victim then dialed 911, at which point he snatched her iPhone out of her hand and threw it to the ground. Officer observed the damaged iPhone. Victim stated that the defendant grabbed the inside of her mouth with his hands, causing lacerations. She also advised that she finally was able to go and she was able to flee the location to get assistance and contacted the police. Officer observed the lacerations and swelling to the victim's face. Victim was also transported to the hospital for her injuries. Your Honor, with everything said and the idea that this is actually a felony, the recommendation from the state is $11,000 surety bond, $10,000 on the battery family violence, $1,000 on the other charge, Your Honor, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, and a family violence intervention program. Nothing. And at this time, we can sound for the victim, Miss Kelonia, Kelonia, Selvright, Selvright. That'd be appreciated.
Ms. Selvright? Ms. St. Plex?
Yes, Judge, this charge actually is a misdemeanor as of right now. We do not have any information about who was involved in the previous cases. As the court heard, 8/16/22 is when this allegation was accused to have happened. I spoke with my client and he's been living in Georgia for over 5 years. He's been working at Appliance Guy. He has 3 children, one at the age of 13, one 12, and one 9. He's been working at that place for over a year now. He does have a mother and father and a sister who lives here, so he does have ties to the community. He graduated from high school with his diploma and is looking forward to going to welding school. We are asking that the court grant a signature bond in his case. If the court is not inclined to grant a signature bond, we're asking for no more than $1,000 surety bond. We do think $11,000 is somewhat of a felony bond, and this is a misdemeanor as of right now.
Okay, thank you. On the battery family violence, that's going to be a $3,500 surety bond. On hindering a person from making an emergency phone call, that's going to be $1,000. And criminal trespass, that's going to be $1,000. So the total bond is going to be $5,500. It is a surety bond. No contact with Ms. Kelonia Selvright to stay away from 2455 Creel Road in Atlanta, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons and no firearms. And his next court date is going to be October 12th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I get those bond amounts again, please?
3,500 on the battery, 1,000 each on the remaining 2 charges.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Next, we have position 10. We can go ahead and do courtroom 1 now with the interpreter.
It's courtroom 1. Are you on the Zoom?
Yes,
All right. Miss Strong, is it? Who is hosting today?
Yes, ma'am. I did the breakout rooms.
All right.
They
If you
should
could
be going in
please,
there now.
yeah, please place a courtroom 1, Miss St. Flex.
They're
And
in there, Judge.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Position 10, Mr. Edwin Hudson.
Thank you. We have State versus Edwin Hudson, charged with simple battery domestic violence from May 16, 2023. The accusation is 23 CR 5849J.
You ready?
Mr. Hudson, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Kim. Yeah, I'm ready.
5th arrest. Last was 2022 probation, 2017 DUI, 2016 probation, 2015 reckless conduct conviction. Actually, 10 and 11 was recommended. just so you know.
Thank you. Mr. Walker?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, the defendant was arrested for simple battery, family violence. Upon speaking with the victim, Ms. Diamond Holland, she advised to the law enforcement officer that the defendant pushed a table into her. They reside together and have 2 children together. We have had contact with the victim. She wishes for the defendant to return home. So in that light, we are asking for a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial services, no further violent contact with Ms. Diamond Holland, and the condition of a family violence intervention program.
Ms. Kim?
Except the family violence intervention program, we have no objection, Your Honor. My client is 25 and he is not convicted and he does not have any violence history. He's recommended. So I don't think a class is necessary, Your Honor. If we have to do a family violence intervention program, instead of doing that, I would recommend for 1-day anger awareness class.
I'm going to take the state's recommendation of $3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Mr. Hudson is to have no violent contact with Diamond, I think it was Holland,
Holland.
Okay. And Mr. Hudson, that means there cannot be any physical or verbal altercation with Miss Holland. Otherwise, you will be arrested again and brought back to jail, possibly with a felony charge of aggravated stalking. While you are out on bond, you're not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not own or possess any weapons or firearms. You are to attend and complete 8 anger management classes. Those classes must begin within 60 days of being released from pretrial. So by your 3rd pretrial visit, you must report to your pretrial officer that you have begun your anger management classes, and those must be done consecutively. 8 classes and to the completion in order to satisfy the requirements of your signature bond. Thank you.
Your Honor, Ms. Holland is on the line, so if the court could sound for her, I believe she would like to address the court.
Ms. Holland?
Yes, ma'am.
She might be on my.
She's under the name Diamond. She'll have to turn her camera on.
Ms. Holland?
Yes, I'm trying to turn the camera on, but it's not working.
Well, if it's not working, then you won't be able to contribute.
Is it possible for me to exit and then come right back?
Sure, but I'm issuing a signature bond. Are you comfortable having contact with you?
Yes, ma'am. And I just wanted to state he never hit me with the table.
Well, that's something that you and the prosecutor can discuss. All right, thank
Okay.
you. You're free to go. Next case, please.
What was the amount, Your Honor?
It was a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial, no violent contact with Diamond Holland, and 8 anger management classes. I must report to pretrial.
Next is position 12, Mr. Andrew Pham.
Mr. Andrew Pham is accused of battery in case 23 CR 5851F from September 29th, 2023. Mr. Pham, you've been advised, well, first of all, I don't mean to be rude, but do you speak and understand English? Yes?
I understand English.
All right, thank you. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. And any priors, Mr. Howard?
I'm gonna defer to the state. I was getting it reran, but GCIC went down.
Okay, Mr. Walker, would you be able to fill that in?
Yes, we can come back to the criminal history in a few seconds, but in this case, law enforcement was dispatched to Tongue and Groove nightclub located at 565 Main Street, where they spoke to the victim, Mr. Salman Vasia, and I'll get the spelling for that. But there was a physical altercation between the 2 parties. The defendant was arrested for battery. The state is asking for a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with the victim and stay away from that incident location. And we are also asking for 2 days of anger management. I'm pulling up his history right now. This appears to be the defendant's first arrest.
All right. Unless you have any objection, Ms. Kim, I'm going to go with the state's recommendation.
Now, I think he's a resident of California, though. Is that true?
Yes. So I was wondering if he can do by phone, report by phone, Your Honor.
Mr. Walker, any objection of signature bond through the jail?
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Pham, your bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. You don't have to report to pretrial, but you will need to maintain a current address with the Fulton County Clerk's office so that we can send you summons of when to appear next in court. It is most likely that you will appear via Zoom. So there's a little chance that you will need to travel to Georgia unless the presiding judge requires you to be in court in person. While you are out on this $3,000 signature bond through the jail, you're not to return to the Tongue and Groove, I don't know what do you call it, restaurant, nightclub on Main Street, and you are to have no contact with Salman Basir. No illegal drugs and no weapons and no firearms. You must, as I was indicated, you must maintain a current address with the courts at all times. If you fail to appear, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest, and they do tend to have the nasty habit of going nationwide. Understood?
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on. Next is position 15, Anthony Slade.
Mr. Anthony Slade is case number 23 CR 5854Y, accused of criminal trespass on September 29th, 2023. Mr. Slade, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your attorney is Ms. Kim. Mr. Howard, any priors?
Late, 33 total. Last arrest was on the 26th of this month. Trespass, possession of drug-related objects. That's open state court.
And what's the case number?
23 CR 005 786 C as in cat. Got an open case in DeKalb County, improper solicitation by use of invoice. That's out of DeKalb County. Failure to appear from this year. Trespass from this year, 2019, 2018, simple battery conviction, and probation violations from 2018 and 2015. That's it.
All right, thank you.
It's my case, Your Honor.
Okay.
Defendant was arrested at Georgia Tech. He had previously been criminally trespassed from the Georgia Tech campus. Georgia Tech law enforcement did recognize the defendant and took him into custody. The state is asking for $1,000 signature bond through the jail, along with a stay away from the Georgia Tech campus.
What is his bond status in the 23 CR case 5786C?
I will have to take a look, Your Honor. Give me one moment.
If it's a signature bond through pretrial, he may end up staying in jail if it's been surrendered.
Okay, let me search Odyssey for that.
Through the jail.
Through the jail. So this will be his second signature bond through the jail?
That will be correct, Your Honor.
All right.
And just to put on the record, the state did consent that if he was referred to PAD and interviewed and was accepted, we would be willing to dismiss or null process matter, but that's up to the defendant.
Okay. Ms. Kim, the bond is going to be set at $2,000. It's going to be a signature bond through the jail. Mr. Slade is not to return to any property that belongs to Georgia Tech. He needs to maintain a current address so we can send him his next court date. And if he follows the directive of the Solicitor General's office and seeks out the necessary resources through PAD, then there's a possibility this case will be closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Milton, position 11, would that be available?
That one will be reset MH.
All right.
I believe they attempted for him to speak with Ms. Simplex, but it did not work out.
All right. That case is going to be reset to Monday, which would be October 2nd.
Yeah, October
30th, 1st, 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Strong, is Ms. Sinflex, could you send a message to the breakout that we're ready for that case?
Sure.
And in the meantime, let me just go down the calendar. Position number 1 was a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 2, Barnes, is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 3 is next. Position 4 is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 5 is a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial. But the case is still reset to October 12th because of his FTA case. Ms. Bridgewater, on Alpha Dio, if we have him on the SAP calendar, could you please also include his 22 CR 008561D?
0085.
61 D
Okay.
is in Denmark.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Position 6, Dickerson, is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial. Position 7 is a 2,000 surety bond, reset October 12th. Position 8 is a 5,500 surety bond, reset October 12th. Position 9 is a $1,500 surety bond, reset October 12th. 10, Hudson, is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial. 11 is reset to October 2nd. This is not Riverside, it's an MH matter. Position 12 is a 3,000 signature bond through the jail, further notice. Position 13 is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial. 14 is a 3,000 signature bond through the jail. And 15 is a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Right. Any update on position 3, Ms. Strong?
I just let them know, Judge, they should be on their way back in.
Okay. Ms. Strong, you can close out the breakout room, please.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's address courtroom 1. Ms. Chauncey, if you don't mind, do you solemnly swear and affirm that the information you translate will be a true and accurate interpretation with no changes or embellishments?
I do, Your Honor.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, we are addressing State versus Jonathan Batista Padia, charged with battery, family violence from August 11th, 2023.
Estamos dirigiéndonos al caso de Jonathan Bautista Padilla por un cargo de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar ocurrido el 11 de agosto del 2023.
His case number is 23 CR 5842B.
El número de caso es 23 CR 5842B.
Mr. Batista, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case during this proceeding, your statements will be used against you by the prosecutor.
Señor Bautista, usted tiene el derecho a guardar silencio. Todo lo que diga durante este proceso puede y será usado por la fiscalía.
You have a right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. Currently, you're represented by Miss Clarissa Saintflex.
Usted tiene derecho a ser representado por un abogado. Si no tiene, no puede contratar uno, el tribunal puede asignarle uno y en este momento lo está representando la señora Clarissa Saintflex.
All right. Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Batista?
¿Hay algunos antecedentes con el señor Bautista?
Yeah, he got 9 total. Last arrest was on the 27th of this month in Tip County. Driving out of valid license.
El último arresto tiene 9 procesos. El último fue el 27 de este mes.
Any prior battery or violent offenses?
¿Hay algún arresto relacionado con cargos de violencia?
He had a 2015 burglary, criminal mischief theft conviction.
Él tiene en el 2015 por entrada ilícita.
Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas? Yeah.
Because this is the battery family violence case, brief facts of the case.
Voy a leer los hechos debido a que es un caso de violencia familiar.
Officers responded to the incident location for a dispute.
Los oficiales respondieron debido a una disputa.
Victim advised that her live-in boyfriend, the defendant, was at home and got upset with her for not making any food.
La víctima dijo que el novio llegó a la casa y se enojó con ella por no haber cocinado nada.
They argued and he struck the victim several times in the face with a closed fist.
Ellos discutieron y él la golpeó en la cara varias veces.
Officer observed visible injuries to her nose and neck. She also stated that her nose had bled from the assault and she still had blood on her shirt.
Los oficiales observaron que habían lesiones visibles en la nariz y en el cuello, y que salía sangre por la nariz, la cual había manchado la camisa.
Victim provided a photo of the defendant.
Y la víctima dio una fotografía del acusado.
Recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services.
Se recomienda una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Se prohíbe el uso de alcohol, drogas y armas.
No contact with the victim.
No tener ningún contacto alguno con la víctima.
A stay away from the incident location.
Se deberá mantener alejado del lugar donde ocurrió el incidente.
And family violence intervention program.
Y tiene que tomar un programa de intervención de violencia familiar.
In the interest of time, the incident location for stay away and the victim's name was placed in the chat.
I'm sorry, sir. Could you please repeat that?
In the interest of time, the stay away location and the victim's name was placed in the chat.
Oh, ok. El domicilio de donde ocurrió el incidente y el nombre de la víctima se escribió aquí en el chat de la plataforma.
If at this time we can sound for the victim, because our office was not able to get in contact with her, Miss Maria Diego.
Señora María Diego está presente en la plataforma.
I believe that's her with iPhone. I just sent her the link. It says iPhone.
Creo que ella está presente.
Miss Diego, you must unmute.
Señora Diego, por favor.
I can hear you now.
¿La puede escuchar? ¿Puede prender su cámara?
It's on.
Oh, ahora sí.
Miss Diego, my name is Judge Lal. If you would like to make a statement, I would need to place you under oath.
Okay.
You speak English, don't you?
Yeah, English.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Do you solemnly,
The judge is gonna swear you.
do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Chauncey, we need to interpret that for the defendant. You can put,
Le acaban de juramentar, señor, si jura la verdad, toda la verdad, en su mejor saber y entender.
okay. Yes, Ms. Diego, what would you like to tell us?
¿Qué quiere decirme, señora Diego?
A los otros jugando un día, me pega mi nariz, pero solo jugando, y toda la sangre la salí.
What happened on that day, he hit me just playing around, and so it started bleeding.
Y mi mamá miró y dice, ay, eso está mal, pero solo jugando.
Solo what?
We were just playing around.
Oh, my mom said, oh, what is that? And we were playing around.
Anything else?
¿Algo más?
No, eso es todo.
No, that's all.
Who called the police?
¿Quién llamó a la policía?
Mi mamá.
My mom.
Okay.
Yo estoy en el trabajo.
I was working.
Porque yo salí de la casa, porque las dos estaban jugando. Cuando yo salí, mi mamá me marca la policía, ven por yo la trabajo. Yo dile, mi mamá solo jugando.
Because then I went to work, and when I left, my mom called the police. So, and I told her we were playing around.
I don't think I read that in the warrant.
Yo no creo que leí eso en la orden de arresto.
Pero mi mamá no está allá, es solo yo y él.
But my mom doesn't know. Only both of us do.
Pero mi mamá como más cosas mal, pero nada pasó, solo jugando.
My mom said more bad things, but nothing happened. We were playing around.
Give me a moment.
Un momento.
Anything else, Ms. St. Flex?
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Miss Diego, and she would like to have contact. Additionally, when I spoke with my client, he has nowhere else to live. And so we would be asking that the stairway is not ordered. She stated that she is not afraid of him coming back to the residence. He has no other family here that he could live with, so he would be homeless if he's not allowed to return to that address. Additionally,
Please.
I'm sorry.
Yo hablé con mi cliente, el señor Diego, y él quiere tener contacto con la señora Diego, y ella quiere tener contacto con él. Entonces, ella sí no tiene a otro lugar a donde ir a vivir, o sea que pedimos que no tenga que ordenarse, que se mantenga alejado. Ella no le teme y no tiene él otra familia donde ir a vivir, por eso estaría desamparado si no se le quita esa orden.
He's been living in Georgia for over 5 years, and they do have a 1-year-old together, is my understanding.
Él ha estado viviendo por más de 5 años en Georgia, y lo que entiendo es que tienen un niño de 1 año.
They don't have any prior violent contact between one another that we are aware of. I believe that was read in his history, and he said this is the first time the police has been called with an incident concerning them.
No hay antecedentes de cargos relacionados con la violencia entre ellos, y no hay tampoco un historial que se presente en la orden de arresto.
He does currently work helping to tie rebar at a company that he's been with for over a year.
Él ha estado trabajando por un poco más de un año atando varillas, es lo que se ha dedicado.
We are requesting because of the possible challenges and issues with language barrier that he is ordered a signature bond through the jail and not through pretrial.
Por eso quisiera solicitar que debido a la situación del acusado y a todos los desafíos que puede enfrentar desde ahora, que se le otorgue una fianza bajo firma, no bajo la oficina de servicios previos al juicio, pero a través de la cárcel.
For that same reason, and additionally, his limited income, we would ask that the Family Violence Intervention Program is not ordered, as again, he is presumed innocent, and based on my going through his income, he would not be able to afford that program that the prosecution is requesting.
También por esa misma razón, debido a los límites financieros que tienen, que no se solicite un programa que tenga que pagar por violencia familiar, dado a que él es inocente hasta que se lo compruebe culpable, y también después de mis conversaciones acerca de sus ingresos, él no podría pagar los requerimientos de la fiscalía.
Nothing further.
Nada más.
Bond is set at $5,000. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Batista Padia must report to pretrial once a month. He can bring a friend to help him with the interpretation.
Ordeno una fianza de $5,000 bajo firma y a través de la oficina de los servicios previos al juicio. El señor Bautista va a tener que presentarse en la oficina de servicios previos al juicio una vez al mes y debe traer a alguien consigo que hable inglés.
He is to have no further violent contact with Maria Diego.
Queda prohibido el contacto violento hacia María Diego.
He may return to the Fisher Road location.
Él puede regresar al lugar a la casa de Fisher Road.
He is not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons and firearms.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y tenencia de armas.
And he is to enroll in a domestic violence program within 60 days of being released.
Y él debe registrarse en un programa de violencia doméstica dentro de un periodo de 30 días, empezando cuando salga de la cárcel.
He can research and find a program that offers these services in Spanish.
Él puede encontrar un programa que ofrece los servicios en español.
And it's a 24-week program.
Y es un programa de 24 semanas.
He must attend each class.
Él tiene que atender, no faltar a ninguna clase.
And pay for the classes out of his own pocket.
Y pagar estas clases de su propio bolsillo.
If he violates any of the conditions of this bond,
si él incumple alguna de las condiciones de esta fianza,
it will be revoked and converted to a surety or cash bond.
Va a ser cancelada y se convertirá en fianza bajo garantía o monetaria.
He must maintain a current address with us and let us know of any changes in his mailing address.
Él tiene que mantener su dirección actualizada aquí en el tribunal y avisarnos de cualquier cambio de domicilio o localidad.
That concludes this case. Thank you.
Y esto cierra este caso por hoy. Gracias. All right.
Ms. Diego, you're free to go.
Señora Diego puede retirarse.
Deputy Milton, we've concluded with this case.
Have a fabulous weekend, everybody.
You too. Just
You
one
too.
more. Just
Bye-bye.
one more thing. I have a McKelty Lelaine who's asking about something. Miss Lelaine, is it Courtney Lelaine who is asking the question on chat? Right.
That person
Okay.
got reset, right?
Miss, Mr. Lelane has been reset for Monday.
And Miss Clarissa St. Flex, is there a way you can reach out to this couple to give them more information? Or if they want to put their phone number in the chat? So that,
That's really all the information we have because we couldn't speak with him because of circumstances.
understood,
We'll
that's
be on
why,
the calendar on Monday.
understood, that's why I would like to see if you can speak with them about these circumstances, since we cannot do it.
Okay, yes, you all can put your number in the chat.
Okay, so I don't know, their video keeps disappearing, but I think they might be putting, if you'd like Michael's iPhone or Miss McKelty Lelane, if you want to put your phone number in the chat directly to Clarissa St. Flex. Or Miss St. Flex, if you want to just directly chat them and say, hello, send me your phone number, that would be helpful.
Okay.
All right, I think we're concluded with Ms. Chauncey. Thank you so much. Have a great
You're welcome.
weekend. You're free
You
to go.
too, Your Honor.
All right. As soon as you confirm the receipt of the phone number, we can conclude the Zoom.
I have the number.
All right. Okay, everyone, enjoy your weekend. And Miss Holly, I'll look forward to your email, okay?
Are we
Yes,
gonna go over
ma'am.
the calendar?
Oh, we just did.
We did.
Oh,
we-
okay.
If you want, Miss Kim will give you the update.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
The only thing with the position 3 was a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial.
Okay, thank you.
All right, folks, y'all have a great weekend. Thank
Okay.
you.